Hello. Welcome to another live episode of the O&G StrikeZone right here on the Black College Sports Network. Bryan Fulford, Kelvin Rozier, Marcus Green, all together in one place. Hopefully everybody's doing well. I cannot think of a more chaotic last 4 hours than, my phone battery has practically gone dead with all the news and just, man, you'd swear it was Monday afternoon, man. How y'all brothers doing right now?
You go first, Marcus.
Oh, this week has been rough. Started with Friday and all the way through now, but we're still here.
Brian, I don't know what we did. I'm talking about Rattlers and me included. Who we pissed off. But whoever got that voodoo doll, man, stop sticking it. Uncle, I give.
I'm telling you, man. I agree 100%. He looks irritated. We all are irritated, man. Look, we got so many things going on. Look, my lighting in my home studio is not working. Kelvin got issues going on at his house. We got stuff going on with our university. Marcus, man, I hope everything's all right up in Delaware where you are, man, because, man, down here in the South is chaos right now. It's chaos down here in Florida. Jesus.
You got to call on that name.
Hey, look.
Amen.
All I know is every Rattler within the sound of my voice, I'm going to start the show like this. I need all of y'all Rattler. If you are a true Rattler, at some point during this show, a commercial break, or before you go to bed, drop to a knee and be specific. You know, they say you got to be specific when you ask God for prayers, right? I'm telling y'all now, be specific, and let's be specific in our prayers for FAMU. Don't just say hashtag pray for FAMU. No, man, we need prayer. We need specifics, prayer, calling on specifics on what we need, because, boy, I tell you right now, woo, it's a lot going on.
Get the holy water. Get the dirty water. Get whatever kind of water we can get. But
light a candle, strike a match, whatever, man. I'm telling you, man, drop to a knee. I'm specific. Drop to a knee and ask God to bring us some peace and some steady and some individuals that can come in here and right this ship for a few years, not just 1 or 2 years. I'm talking like a graduation cycle. Give me some peace and calm at FAMU. I mean, it's too much. I mean, this is coming up on just a couple days out of our birthday, the Founders Day. October 3rd is right around the corner. It's just like, what the hell? I mean, woo. So, yeah, exactly. I don't know. Burn some sage. Yeah, let the church say amen. I need Rattler Nation to get on a knee and pray. Whew, that's what we need. So I want to welcome to another episode. However you're watching us, you could be watching us on Facebook, Black College Sports Network, O&G StrikeZone Facebook page, our YouTube channel, the Jericho Broadcast Network's Black College Sports Network YouTube page at MyJBN Online, where you can join and be a part of the channel membership fee, or you can always leave a super chat. Hello to everybody watching on Twitter. We always get a good crowd from Twitter, Instagram Live, O&G StrikeZone on Instagram Live. So all the number of places where people are tuned in and watching. Man, I mean, we have just been in the news every day since Saturday. Every day, it's just something. So, I mean, I was telling the guy, we were talking about it pre-game. We have any number of stories that we can lead with. Yeah. Literally.
There's no shortage.
this is. I mean, look, we've been doing this now just over 5 years now. You know, we're in season number 5, or maybe I should say maybe over 4 years now. And I can't recall. I mean, we've had some days where we've come on the air and it's been like, bam, 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 bam. No, I don't think we've had anything like this. First day of October too, and it's just been a lot. It has been a lot going on. So yeah. Ooh, Jesus. Let me go through the roll call because I better get the roll call in now because I don't think I'll ever get to it. But I do want to make a mention here of our guest lineup tonight. Got a great guest lineup among all the breaking news we got going on. We got some great guests tonight. All Rattlers. So, I mean, all Rattlers all over the country. Marissa Stubbs, sports reporter / anchor for WAPT News in Jackson, Mississippi. She's a FAMU grad. She's a sports reporter and anchor out there in Jackson, Mississippi. So we're going to talk to her at the bottom of hour 1. And, I mean, she's right there in the Lions Den. So has some great perspective on what's going on out there. Then at the top of hour 2, Vaughn Wilson, president of the 220 quarterback club, the Eddie Jackson 220 quarterback club, and of course of HBCU Gameday. He will be joining us at the top of hour 2. Vaughn is getting his just stories after stories right now that he's dropping right now. So HBCUGameday.com. I'm sure you can go see what the latest stuff is. So we will talk to him. And then at the bottom of hour 2, Michelle Stacey, a.k.a. Stahsay Gordone, is going to be joining us. It's been a minute since we've had her on the show. She's a Marching 100 alum, comedian, musician. She will not hold back. She would not hold back. Brought up some very interesting videos, regarding some halftime shows. And so we're going to get her perspective on, this viral band moment involving our beloved Joe Bullard and just a little of the background of the whole FAMU and Alabama State band history things. So she will come up. And if you haven't seen the viral video, I'm sure it's out there. All you got to do is type in Stahsay Gordone, and then there you'll see it. But you probably already know. So let me just go to the break. I know I said I do shout outs, but let me get to that. I'm gonna say hello to everybody. So I'm just one big blanket. Hello, Rattlers. Hello, family. Thank you all for coming in. Thank you all, those of you who are JBN subscribers. Thank you for joining the channel. Hit the thumbs up and the like button if you wouldn't mind doing so. All right, let me get into the first major story that dropped as of 5 o'clock, actually 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 Central. I should have a little thing, Marcus. Swag news on the air, swag news. The Southwestern Athletic Conference announces a public reprimand and fine of Florida A&M. Reading right here off the SWAC.org website. In accordance with the Southwestern Athletic Conference Principles and Standards of Sportsmanship, the conference has issued Florida A&M University a public reprimand and a $10,000 fine for the inappropriate comments made over the public address system that occurred during Saturday's football game against Alabama State University. In addition, the public address announcer, not named, but we know him to be Joe Bullard, will be suspended for the next 2 upcoming football games. The SWAC continues with their statement saying inappropriate conduct and invective language will always be met with strong action by the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and the conference office will continue to uphold a zero tolerance for such behavior. The conference office acknowledges the apology issued by Florida A&M University and have trust that this type of occurrence will not happen again. Questions, Kelvin, Marcus. I have plenty, but I want to let you guys get in there first.
Bryan, I'm pretty pissed at the audacity of the SWAC, to be frank. The university did what they were supposed to do. The president initially came out immediately and apologized, and Joe has come out and apologized. And if the university suspended Joe 1 or 2 games, that's fine. But the audacity to fine $10,000 to the university it reeks of arrogance. And I'm just trying to think where that authority comes from. We are part of the conference that's an NCAA athletic conference. But band is not an NCAA sanctioned event. And this is not a situation where there was a fight at halftime or what have. I think we all agree that in these days and times, the comments are inappropriate. That's reasonable. That's fair. But to fine the university $10,000 when we all understand that all of our universities needed every cent that we can get, that's really rich. And now my position is this: I've got to see if my administration, my new president, and my board, if they love FAMU like I love FAMU, because this should be appealed in terms of the fine. I don't care about the suspension, but that fine, nah, I ain't feeling it at all. And I'm gonna leave it there for now.
Marcus?
For me, and actually, I'm literally just finding out about it within the last half an hour or so. I've been off social media, but I'm curious to know what precedent is this decision based on, and what precedent does it set? Because, well, we all know, we're getting introduced to it, but a lot of us have been around it going way, way back when there was the smack boards and everything else. So there's been a pretty intense competition and some friendly banter, and some of it goes over the line in the band culture as well. So what does that mean going forward? Does that mean the whole conference is going to have to pull some stuff in? Is this being a poster child type thing, or is everyone going to be walking on eggshells when it comes to the halftime announcements and any kind of, I guess, what some would call good-natured ribbing and understanding where it crosses the line? The other thing is, the $10,000. I was like, yeah, that was a little, and I was surprised. I wasn't sure if a suspension was going to come, but I thought, once again, that would be the purview of the school, not necessarily the conference. So I'm not sure, on what, and that's what I guess what I was talking about precedent in terms of that. How is that, what precedent has been set previously to be able to suspend someone who, I'm assuming, works for FAMU or works for the school, and having that person, having a ruling coming down from the conference for someone who's not necessarily in the athletic arena?
In doing a quick search, I'll try to add some context here, fellas. I did a quick search on the Southwestern Athletic Conference website, and I just typed in the word fines in their search menu. Now, this is the second time in the past year, we haven't even made it out of the whole year, that we have been fined by the conference. Right. Many of you may have forgotten the fine back, November 14th, 2024 in Prairie View, or at Prairie View, in which we were fined, both schools, Prairie View and Florida A&M, were fined $25,000 for a post-game altercation that transpired, on the game that was held on September 9th. Okay. Any other number of fines, and just going through the search history here in the SWAC, that are publicly listed. Now, if there's something else out there that I'm missing, I'll try to find it. But The other fines were regarding altercations that occurred between athletes on the field, okay, or comments made by a coach. The last time that there was a band-related reprimand, November 16th, 2012, on the website, right? The title says Mississippi Valley Marching Band Reprimand. And just in reading it, saying the Valley Marching Band has been publicly reprimanded by the SWAC for failure to comply with league procedures and policies during a conference contest. The offense occurred during their home game versus Prairie View on November 10th, 2012. And I guess it had to do with playing, because the conference rules state that once the offensive team breaks the huddle and approaches the line, the band shall cease playing. By rule, the band was asked to stop playing 3 times by both the referee and the public address announcer, assuming that Valley's band did not stop playing. And anything else that I'm not coming across anything else related to comments made by a public address announcer during the halftime show.
Right.
This is new territory, I think. Very new territory.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. What precedent was there before, and what precedent does it set?
I wonder if, and one of the first thoughts, a lot of people, and even you guys were just asking, how can the conference suspend? I would like to find out if it was FAMU who suspended Joe, because I honestly thought that I told some people I wouldn't be surprised if Joe did get suspended 2 games. I definitely didn't think he would get fired, as some people may have been suggesting out there on the interwebs. But I said I wouldn't be surprised if he got a 2-game suspension. So that was my unofficial thought and guess there.
I'm gonna just jump in on word on the street was that the university. The word on the street was the university only wanted to do a 1-game suspension. We have homecoming coming up, and we have
a home game. We thought we were going to have a home game in 2 games against North Carolina Central. Now that's 1 game away.
Right. Well, and then we haven't even got to the other story about the classic yet, but they were going to perform there too. So with a 2-game suspension, you would have had the home game and the classic, and then that would have given you homecoming for a return. So the word on the street, though, that the university only wanted to do a 1-game suspension.
Mm-hmm. So this was a 2-game, I guess, for clarity, and I don't want to derail us too much. So the 2-game suspension, was it 2 SWAC contests or 2 home contests?
There's no clarity. The line reads, the public address announcer will be suspended for the next 2 upcoming football games. Now, that could be just 2 games, regardless of whether the band plays in it or not. I don't know. We'll have to get more clarity. I will have to reach out to the communications people at the SWAC and see if I can get some clarity on what that line really means. But again, I did not get a chance to do so because of the timing and when it came out. It came out at 6:00. It's a nice news dump time. When you want to drop something and then be able to not have to answer phone calls and anything, you kind of do it at like 5:30, 6:00, and then you can kind of get away for the evening. And
you can, Outlook you can delay email delivery.
Yeah, or you could drop it on a Friday at 4:00, and then you got the whole weekend to sit on it. But again, I will try to reach out and we'll see if we can get some clarity, and maybe we'll be able to post a statement on social media and everything.
The bylaws are available, but I think they're behind a wall, so you have to have administrative rights. At least that's the way it was when I was in the department. So it's not available to the public.
Right. Well, so that news kind of comes on the heels of the information. Obviously, we're all aware when we did our show on Monday, we were aware that a statement, of course, the public apology from President Johnson, and then I believe on Facebook, sometime either Monday evening or Tuesday, Joe Bullard himself had issued an apology, which we'll get into a little bit later with that when we talk to Vaughn. So there's that, right? And then all that comes on the heels of the announcement where when we ended the show Monday, we didn't know where the game was going to be played when we talked on Monday. We thought that the next game was going to be on Valley, or be against Valley. Even that turned out to be wrong, Kelvin. So the Mississippi Valley State game has been postponed to Saturday. I'm sorry, Friday. I'm going to read the statement right here from Mississippi Valley State because it is their home game. So I'm going to go right to the home team's webpage to read the statement. Due to unforeseen circumstances and issues beyond our control with the organizers of the Georgia Football Classic, the October 4th, 2025 football game between Mississippi Valley State University and Florida A&M University will no longer be held at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. As we value the opportunity to provide a quality experience, every effort was made to make this event occur. We regret that no viable option was available on short notice. As Mississippi Valley State is the designated home team, the decision was made to postpone the game and play at Rice-Totten Stadium in Itta Bena, Mississippi, on Saturday, November 29th, 2025 at 2 p.m., and that is Central Time, so 3 p.m. Eastern. Instant reaction, Kelvin and Marcus.
That's going to be a sellout. Thanksgiving in Itta Bena? No.
You said that with such a dead face. I really thought you were serious for like a half second.
So this is unacceptable. This is ridiculous. It's very disappointing. And it only happens, unfortunately, in HBCU football. You would never see this happen anywhere else. I just don't understand the week of a game how you've been selling tickets, have a venue, and then the week of the game, you scrambling trying to find another venue. See, word on the street is, I'm gonna say that a lot tonight.
I got a feeling we might, yeah.
There were meetings. There were meetings with both schools, Mercedes-Benz, the third parties. Everybody knew tickets weren't selling. So how do we get to the point that the week of, why not pull the plug 2 weeks ago? Especially since somebody didn't sign the contract to August and tickets couldn't even go on sale to September 2nd after Labor Day.
Ooh,
somebody. I mean, those are facts. So while we looking at the third party crazy, I'm just think about it. The universities, they sign off on it. Their legal team, their executive leadership, their presidents, ADs. And when you have large events, there are at least weekly meetings. Going into the last 4 weeks, there's usually at least every other day meetings about logistics and where things are going and that type of thing. So this shouldn't have caught us flat-footed. And it shouldn't happen. I don't know how a venue, I got the same spirit for the venue. I don't know how Mercedes-Benz since the Ticketmaster's arrangements were set up through there, I don't know how they let it go this far and then put a plug on HBCUs. Somebody need to eat something, but this game needed to happen. And I do, again, word on the street was that there were options being looked at for other venues once this was not the case in the Atlanta market. There were some potential venues available that may have worked, but with egg on the face and I'm pretty sure just being jaded, the word on the street is Valley decided, hey, we just gonna take it home, and then that created logistic issues for teams to travel and for them to get their personnel in place, security and all that set up, and a whole bunch of other things since, and I'm pretty sure they didn't have a budget to do all that. And there's a whole lot more I can go to, but I'm gonna let y'all guys get in. But those are some of my initial thoughts.
Yeah, I mean that'll be good. I got questions. Marcus got a couple minutes here, so get your thoughts in here before we head to our break.
All right. Well, it's a shame it had to go down like this. I mean, I had concerns once it got announced, just from some not any inside information or talking to anybody, but just like the presentation of it, like who was doing it. It wasn't 100 Black Men of Atlanta, it was 100 Black Men of DeKalb County. And that's my home area. I mean, I'm from DeKalb County. So I'm like,
and it was not them. They were people that the third party bought into it that was supposed to support this and help it to be successful. But it wasn't their event. That's what I'm saying.
A lot of finger pointing. There's so much finger pointing going on right now, right?
It's so much behind the scenes in this thing. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Marcus.
Yeah, I mean there are a couple of things that just raised flags for me. And I was thinking that number one, I guess the first one was the game in and of itself. It was like, okay, I mean, Valley, I don't know how much of an alumni base they have in Atlanta. I don't know how much of a draw. I don't know. All that playing there's no long-standing rivalry. There's no real attraction to bring people to that game, number one. Number two, having that game with keeping in mind the opponents in the Georgia Dome. I mean, not Georgia Dome, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the largest stadium in the whole Metro Atlanta area, and probably the most expensive to rent out. And if you don't have a marquee draw, you're gonna lose your shirt. Mm-hmm. The other thing is there's supposed to be a battle of the bands, and I don't know to what degree having the bands that would have compensated for the other two things: the size of the venue, how much it's going to cost, and the attractiveness of the matchup. So there's a whole bunch of other things that I was just kind of like, we'll have to see how it turns out. And
and then you add to it the records of the team involved. You got a 1-3 and a 0-4. Nobody's feeling that great.
Yeah.
About wanting to pay to go see that.
No. Okay. I know we have a lot of questions regarding it. Kelvin, you said some interesting stuff. I'm going to write my questions to the side because if not from one of our guests upcoming on the other side of the break, Marissa Stubbs, who's in Jackson, and the sports reporter there. And then if not her, then Vaughn Wilson, who comes at the top of hour 2. I'm sure a lot of those questions we will address with either one or both coming up here on the other side. So with that said, let's go ahead and take our first break of the show. And when we come back, let's introduce and meet Marissa Stubbs for the first time here on the O&G Strike Zone. Right after these words, you're watching the O&G Strike Zone right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app. as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU.
Football fans, the Cricket Celebration Bowl is celebrating 10 years of crowning an HBCU national champion. A champion will rise at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 13th as the MEAC and SWAC champions clash in Atlanta. Join us for championship football, interactive fan experiences, and iconic marching bands. It's an HBCU family reunion that you don't want to miss. See who will be crowned the next HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
All right, welcome back to the O&G StrikeZone. Bryan, Kelvin, Marcus, and it's a pleasure to be joined for the first time on the O&G StrikeZone. None other than Miss Marissa Stubbs. Marissa, how you doing, Rattler? Welcome to the O&G. How you doing?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Hey,
Doing awesome.
Good.
We're
That's
doing
good.
well.
That's good.
For those of you who may not know, or may, you've been under a rock somewhere, Marissa is born and raised from St. Petersburg, Florida, a 2021 FAMU graduate who is now the sports reporter and anchor out there in WAPT. That's ABC 16 in Jackson, Mississippi. That's right there in enemy territory. Marissa is out there in Jackson, Mississippi. Marissa, it's great to have you on the show. How you doing tonight?
It's great to be here. I'm doing good. It's great to see fellow Rattlers while I'm in enemy territory. I'll tell you.
Why don't we start and just kind of tell people a little bit about your journey, because you came right out of FAM, and you went, it's like a rocket right out of FAMU, rising to the top. Let people know a little bit about your FAMU journey.
Absolutely. So like you mentioned, born and raised in St. Petersburg, Florida. And so that's about 4.5 hours away from Tallahassee. So growing up, I would say I always knew I wanted to be on TV, but I just didn't know whether I wanted to go in news, sports, entertainment. So going to FAMU really helped me narrow that down by getting involved within athletics and things of that sort. So when I was at FAMU, I served as the sports director over the FAMUN, and then I also did a little anchoring for FAMU TV 20. So just also like in my experience at FAMU, I feel like I just got the real world experience of what it took to be a sports journalist. And then my senior year at FAMU, I had a fellowship with ESPN. And so that helped me really decide what did I wanted to do post-grad. And so post-grad, about 3 months after I landed my first sports anchor job in the middle of nowhere in Texas. I always say that because like when I say the name, many people are like, but it was San Angelo, Texas, guys. And that's like 4 hours from Dallas, like 3 hours from Austin. It's like in the middle of nowhere, West Texas, basically. So I spent about 2.5 years there. And then I covered like Division II football and high school football. So coming from there in my next market, I knew I wanted to cover something that felt like home, swag football. Also in Mississippi, we have Ole Miss and Mississippi State, so SEC. And so I landed my second sports market job here in Jackson, and it's treated me well so far. Like I said, it's great to see my fellow Rattlers. When I first got here, Jackson State definitely let me know that I was in Tigerland. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me and my journey up until now.
I'm curious about that fellowship and how that fellowship was that springboard for you. Share a little bit about what was that process like, and I mean it came kind of or just I'll let you explain it, how that fellowship came about.
Absolutely. So the fellowship is named after a well-known journalist, William C. Roden. He's a New York columnist. He's wrote a lot for Anscape. And so we were called the Roden Fellows. And so they only pick 6 HBCU students out the country every year. It's a year-long fellowship. And so my sophomore year at FAMU, I had applied and then I didn't get it. And so my junior year, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get this fellowship. So during my sophomore year, going into my junior year, that's when I became heavily involved within athletics. And I started writing and I started publishing stories for the FAMU. And so that caught the eye of William C. Roden. And so, you know, once I applied that second time, I was granted the fellowship. And so that year was COVID year. So it did strip us a lot of opportunities because we were able to go cover like NFL games or sometimes the NFL draft and things of that sort. But once COVID hit, everything kind of shut down. So we were like the virtual classes, what we called ourselves. But still, while being virtual, I got so much real world experience. I was able to hop on podcasts with well-known journalists like Taylor Ruggs and just gain some real world experience from her. And then also publish stories on Anscape about HBCU sports. I feel like I kind of served as like FAMU's own reporter on a national level because, you know, I covered when it was 2020, the year when George Floyd and everything was happening, our football players marched, you know, downtown. And so I covered all of that. And so that fellowship really, like I said, helped me decide like, okay, once I graduate, I want to go into sports journalism.
Nice. Go ahead, Kelvin.
Hey, Marissa, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. Thank you for accepting my invitation, and it's good to see you. My question centers around 2 things. Mm-hmm. One, how did you narrow it down to sports? Because I know I used to see you on the sidelines, and I saw you do all those things you described. But how did you narrow it down to sports is my first question. Then the second part to that, you kind of mentioned some folks, but who are your mentors and who are some of the people you've watched or you had a chance to work with?
Absolutely. So I'm going to tell y'all how I narrowed it down to journalism as a whole. So I got to FAMU and I looked at the list of majors and what you could become. And honestly, y'all, I didn't want to do any of that. So I was like, okay, I have an outgoing personality. I'm going to go into journalism. But like I said, you could do entertainment, you could do news, you could do sports. And so I would say my freshman year, I just always enjoyed watching sports. So that's just something that came natural. And then once I started to get into news, I was like, this is a little depressing. I don't think I want to cover this 24/7. And so entertainment wasn't really me. I didn't like celebrities. You got to get heavily involved within that. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I do I just do effortlessly? And that was watching sports. And so Tiffany Green came back my sophomore year, and we had Tiffany Green on the Playmakers, a radio show that we had within the School of Journalism. And so once she came, I'm like that was like, okay, I see somebody who graduated from FAMU that's doing what I want to do. Like, you know, this is so amazing. And so you asked about mentors, but I would say like looking up to somebody in the industry that I felt like could follow the same footsteps as me. Tiffany Green was definitely one of the first people that I looked up to. And so meeting her in person, you know, in my sophomore year, it was like, okay, you know, if she can do it, I can do it, basically. And so, yeah, if that answers your question, I just kept the path. And so I'm still like staying the path and trying to make sure that I can also inspire women that, you know, come after me.
So who's on your wish list of people you would like to work with?
Maria Taylor is like my number one. That is my girl. I love Maria Taylor. Of course, Pam Oliver, that's another FAMU great. So yeah, those two, those are some of the two biggest women that I feel like in the sports industry just really clarify that the sky is the limit.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Good evening, Ms. Stubbs. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. How are you?
I'm doing well. And yourself?
I'm good.
I guess my question for you, in terms of, I guess you mentioned the cohort that you're a part of with Anscape, and also some of the, and I guess maybe plus or minus a year, some of the grads from FAMU who are also in journalism. Do you keep tabs and keep touch with any of the folks, either with that were in your cohort or other fellow journalism grads?
Yes. And the thing about it is I just met Bill Roden for the first time. Like I said, we were the virtual class. I met him for the first time last year at the Celebration Bowl, guys. That just goes to show, like, all these years I've known him. I've been texting him. I've been like calling them. And so my fellows are the same way. Like when I see them, I'm like, oh my gosh. But it just also the FAMU family, like we're so in tune with each other across the world. When we space out, we're still connected. So I've definitely ran into some fellow Rattlers in my sports market. In my first sports market, I worked with one of the FAMU TV 20 anchors. So it's just really cool to see like how we just all come back and connect with each other.
Mm-hmm. I do have a side question. You mentioned your first assignment was in West Texas and you were doing high school sports.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, in our group, I kind of keep tabs on recruiting. And I didn't know if you saw a high school player that the team could probably use, I don't know, is it ethical for you to like send an email to the coach to say, hey, check this kid? I don't know how that works.
Listen, guys, I'm going to be completely honest. Right now, I wish I could type up a long letter and send that over. But I would say like going through the industry, like in Texas, high school football is big in Texas. So like you see so many great players. And that's what I love about the industry is that I want to hit every level of sports. I want to cover high school. I want to cover college. I don't want to just jump straight up to the pros and just, you know, get to know the big athletes. Like, you know, these athletes that start out at the high school level, they have stories too. So watching these athletes grow is like, okay. But yeah, no, there are many times when I'm like, you know, you would be great to play for the FAMU Rattlers. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Marissa, okay, so let's get into it a little bit. Right there in the heart of Jackson, and I call them the school in Mississippi. What is that viewership like, and what is, you know, covering them right now? They're having a lot of success. I mean, they're winning. They're on a regular season FCS winning streak right now. What is the excitement, and what is it like right now covering a winning program right there in the heart of the city?
Absolutely. Like I said, when I first came here, it just reminded me of home. It reminded me so much of my college town because in my first market, I didn't have SWAC football, and to be back in it, it's like you recognize the environment, you appreciate the environment. So once I came back, my first year was when Jackson State went to the Celebration Bowl. So from the start of the season all the way up to the end, I mean, they were winning. I was covering a winning program 24/7, and y'all know Jackson State, their fan base, they don't play. So they are dialed in and they support their team so much. This is the pro team around here. So, you know, I'm not covering a pro team, but technically I am just because of the fan base that they have. So it's been great. My first year, once I was traveling up to Atlanta, I was like, wow, like, you know, like this reminds me of when Willie Simmons did it the year before them. So like, you get back in that environment and then they go on to win it. And it's like, okay, you got to cover the post parade. And y'all, if you thought covering the game was something, the post parade, when everyone's downtown and just pouring in that love for that team and that HBCU love, it's just so rewarding to be in that moment. So like, it's been great. My time here, it's been absolutely great. And like I said, the fan base is just like our FAMU lead. Like no one can touch them at all.
Mm-hmm. What is maybe a common misconception from eyes outside of the SWAC on Jackson State, whether it be Jackson State, the community, the fans, the program? I mean, because we all have our perceptions from the outside of other schools. So dispel maybe a myth or a misconception that people have?
Absolutely. I think just swag teams in general, like if you're not on our team, we don't come off welcoming. Like we are very competitive. So, I mean, that could be a myth just alone. Like, oh, Jackson State fans, they are not friendly. But once I got here and I'm going to be honest, when I first mentioned, I graduated from FAMU, they like FAMU. Like, I'm like, yeah, but they're some of the most loving people you can be around. And that just goes to show that like HBCU love is rooted in all of us. Like, no matter what swag team you come from, you could be in the MEAC. Like, once we get around our people, like, I feel like we kind of recognize each other and we kind of relate to each other on another level that people outside the SWAC can't relate to. We could talk about, the SEC crowd. They probably couldn't relate to how we get down in the SWAC, and so vice versa. But yeah, I feel like the myth is just about the competitiveness that comes with football. I would say it's just it separates all of us as separate teams. Like, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does. Go ahead, Kelvin.
So you also have Alcorn State and Mississippi Valley with which are sweat programs in the state and within an hour and a half drive pretty much. Talk about the coverage compared to JSU for those and how active the fan base for those programs are.
Yeah, so of course Jackson State and Alcorn, like although JSU and Southern is like the biggest rivals, Jackson State and Alcorn are like the in-state rivals. So when those two teams clash, it brings out a big crowd anyways. And so Alcorn was the team that I felt like within the past few years, like they just been trying to get over the hump. But they have head coach Cedric Thomas there, and he hasn't been posting a bad records. And the year before he was 7-4, and so last year, like I feel like they're just really trying to build, but Jackson State was the team to beat. No one could beat Jackson State last year. So when it came to facing Alcorn, I mean, the fan bases are going to be the fan bases. But I feel like the Soul Bowl just like it's almost like the classic for us. Like, it's like, two teams are going to come together and they're rivals. But like at the end of the day, it's a good environment to be in. And then also Mississippi Valley State, the only win last year, unfortunately, came against us guys. So we didn't cover Mississippi Valley State heavily because, like, we want to cover. If you're winning, I mean, you're on our slate. That's basically how it goes. And so Mississippi Valley State, they have a new coach now, Terrell Buckley. So, like, they're still looking for their first win too. So we're keeping up with them. I wish we could have saw the game this weekend, but we'll talk about that. But yeah, it's been great covering both teams as well.
So let's talk about that real quick. What information did you get about what happened with this game?
As a sports reporter / anchor, you report the sports, you report the news, and as a fan, you try not to be opinionated. But y'all, I was reading the news and I'm like, how did this? I was embarrassed. I was like, I don't even know what to say. I'm like, how does this happen? And I heard you guys, I joined the conversation earlier and you guys were saying the week of, like, this didn't happen 2 weeks, like this happened the week of. And so I go up there and I read the news basically saying that the game has been postponed and that, Mississippi Valley State will now play this game at home, November 29th, blah, 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 blah. But I get done reading the script. My anchors are like, what happened? Like, how did this happen? I said, I don't know. I honestly have no explanation. And so just talking about it, I feel like it was just poor planning on both universities. And as a whole, we just have to do better. We have to do better. Absolutely.
Last question, Marcus. So you cover sports at large. Is there a sport or sport event you would like to cover? Is there one you like better than the others?
As in, like, what sport I prefer? Football, basketball? I mean, football is, of course, number one. I feel like in everyone's heart, at least in mine. So football is like number one. Being able to dive in between the SWAC environment and the SEC environment. I was at Ole Miss and LSU last week. So, like, being in environments like that, it's like, okay, like, this is great. And then basketball, like, I love basketball as well. So I don't have favorites. I really don't. I love being a versatile sports journalist. And so that's what I strive to be each and every day.
Okay. Go ahead, Marcus.
Okay. Yes, I actually have a question. Now you mentioned that you were covering JSU last year during the Celebration Bowl. Mm-hmm. Did you happen to get a chance to attend the year before when FAMU was playing Howard? And how would you compare and contrast either the attendance of the game and maybe even the post celebration afterwards?
Yeah, I didn't. I was still in Texas then when FAMU was, you said Howard game you were bringing up. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so, but I will say the last Celebration Bowl that I went to when Jackson State did play South Carolina State, looking out into the Atlanta Falcons stadium, like that was an empty game. And people honestly said, it was the attendance. I don't know, a lot of people tuned in, but however, the attendance was still low. And so I don't know if that just came down to just traveling, but I feel like HBCU football, SWAC football is still on a great stage to be displayed, especially having it on national TV. ESPN was great publicity, but in general, I feel like the attendance was much lower than the previous year. But honestly, I couldn't recall what the previous year attendance was.
Marissa, what is the so as this season goes, one of the biggest games upcoming is going to be the Jackson. I think this week is Jackson State, Alabama A&M.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see, that is in Jackson, correct? That's a home game.
No,
for Jackson
they're
State?
On the road for Alabama A&M and home.
Alabama State, that's a homecoming. Okay,
yeah, that's homecoming.
Okay. So what's covering like that? What's covering that like for you? I mean, give us sort of what does the week look like? Take us behind the scenes on how you prepare, what kind of stories, how do you guys plan out your features? And you mentioned you're not just covering Jackson State, but there are other obviously college programs. So maybe take us behind the curtain or behind the scenes in those production meetings and how you guys kind of plan out the week.
Yeah, absolutely. So this week, a lot of away games, I would say our travel is like, if the game is 3 hours or closer, we can get to it. If it's like 4, 5, 6 hours, because we do day turns. And so when you're day turning, you're already coming back late at night. And it depends on if the game starts at noon or if it's a later game. So for example, JSU is on the road at Alabama A&M this week, but next week, when they play for homecoming, that's homecoming. That's big. In Alabama State, they're right behind them in the standings. So they also upset them, not last year, but the year before. So, I mean, the coverage for that game on a Monday, TC Taylor is going to have his press conference. He's going to look forward to that game. That's usually what we tease to on Mondays. And then throughout the week, we're looking for the standout athletes. We're looking at the SWAC standings. Who's earned SWAC Player of the Week? Who's earned, what players are standing out that coming into this game we need to look out for. And so that's what we're going throughout the week, publishing stories of that sort. Leading up Friday to Saturday, we're once again recalling, hey, this big game is happening. Jackson State is taking on Alabama State for homecoming. This is what you can expect. This is what you can look for. These are the odds. This is the history behind this game. Here's why it's important. So the fan base here is so tuned in that that's what they want to hear. And honestly, you want to give the people what they want to hear. I mean, like I said, Jackson State is the pro team here. So you're going heavy on Jackson State, but you go so heavy on Jackson State, Alcorn going to call you, Mississippi State going to call you, everybody else going to start calling, where's our time? And so in sports, in local news, my block is 2 minutes and 30 seconds, guys. So I got what feels like 6 colleges in the state, and I got to squeeze them in. And so it's hard. I mean, you got to pick and choose. I may run them on Tuesday. Southern Miss, I can't forget about them. I may have to get to them on Thursday, And so it's so many colleges. And then on top of high school football, it's like, all right. But I feel like throughout my time here, I've learned how to balance that. And so SEC country is big here. So I always run Ole Miss and Mississippi State together. That's how I kind of keep those two together. If I'm talking about Ole Miss, I'm going to mention Mississippi State, vice versa. And then when it comes to like Southern Miss, and then also we can't forget about Delta State. Like we have so many other colleges here, D2s and things of that sort that we got to get to. So it's a packed heavy load when you think about how can I include everybody? But, going throughout the week, you learn to balance it out. And what we can't get to the people on air, we can get to them online.
Okay. Just a quick follow-up question on that, because I know Mississippi has a pretty robust junior college programs as it relates in college football. Do you cover them as well? And how do you squeeze them in? Because I think between California, Mississippi, and Texas, and maybe even Iowa, they seem to have a lot of high-level JUCO programs for football, especially. So I don't know, how do you squeeze them in along with all the other programs, if you do?
Yeah, so what helps is that the JUCO or Division II or Division III teams may play on Thursday, so that helps a lot and kind of just squeeze in at least 30 seconds of highlights of this team is doing good and they have a possibility of making, the championship. And so that helps a lot. Also, our universities work with us. Like if they know we barely can get out to them, they may just help and send us some stuff. And so have photogs on campus that kind of help us because like I said, we got so many schools to cover and then it's only, 3 bodies. So we try to incorporate everybody as best as we can.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask, what is the sports team look like? How many people are part of the sports team?
Yeah, so I have a sports director, and that's been here for about 4 years before I got here. And then I am the main weekend sports anchor. And then we have a weekend sports anchor / news guy. So 2-3 days out of the week, he's in sports. I'm in sports 5. And so it kind of works as that like that. And during football season, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say during football season, that's when it's really all hands on. And so we have photogs that kind of help us in shooting highlights and things of that sort.
Okay.
So it's just to follow.
Sounds like.
Go ahead, Bryan.
No, go ahead, Marcus.
I was going to ask, and I know Mississippi doesn't have a formal professional team, but you have the Saints on one side, and then you have a whole bunch of Texas teams. Do you also have to incorporate the pro teams as well?
Absolutely. I run the Saints on Sundays. I just got to pass the Giants. Jackson Dart went to Ole Miss. He's playing the Saints this weekend. So the Saints just sent me my credential for Sunday. But no, we incorporate the Saints too. So like I said, y'all, we got so many teams in a 2-minute and 30 block. And I'm like, all right, let's map this thing out. But yeah, the Saints are like the NFL team that's closest to here. I believe the other one is Atlanta Falcons, but that's 5 hours away from here. So the Saints is technically our NFL team.
Okay.
Do you guys do that? 2 minutes and 30 is still sticking in my head. That's crazy. Do you do anything? You mentioned you used to have a sports radio show that you did when you were at FAM. Do you do anything outside of, do you do any kind of local sports shows or do you do anything? Because that's you're holding on to a lot of information, Marissa. I'm sure somehow you got to get all of it out somehow, some way, right?
Well, okay. So when I first got here, you guys are familiar with Rob J.
I've heard of him. Yeah.
Okay. At Jackson State. Well, when I first got here, I did play-by-play. So I played volleyball in high school. I didn't play at FAMU, but when I got here, being a sports anchor, you can branch out. And so I did play-by-play for volleyball for Jackson State, when they played their games. And that was really cool. But you learn that okay, I don't just have to be in the studio. I can do so much more. And so also having a fellowship with Anscape, Bill Roden is still hey, if you ever want to write for us, you can. And I'm all right, Bill. Okay, I got a lot going on, but I got you. But no, you can. It's fun being a journalist because you're not just limited to one thing. And so that's what I love about what I do, and especially being in the sports world, is that I can still branch out, even though my main job is to be a sports anchor reporter here in Mississippi.
Man, I tell you, when you come back to FAM to be a part of that lecture series, when they talk about alums who are doing it big, you're going to have a lot of great advice for those classmates, or I guess I should say those students who are sitting in those seats that you used to sit in, and you got a lot of info and a lot of stories to tell, and I'm sure a lot of advice to share. Yes. Kelvin, you got any last questions you want to ask or get in with Marissa here?
No, I don't have any questions, man. I just like to say that your passion comes through when you talk about what you do, and how you can tell that you love what you do, and it's beautiful to see young people go out and fulfill their dreams. And of course, I got a little bit of chance to see that journey start and move on from FAMU. So I'm extremely proud, and congratulations.
Yes, thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for having me on here.
Again, thank you, Marissa, for joining us. Let people know where they can find you, how they can follow you. We always want to encourage our listeners and our viewers to reach out and just thank you. And I know as we get a little bit closer to that day in November 1, literally 31 days away, be a lot of excitement down here in Tallahassee.
Absolutely.
But just let people know how they can reach out to you and
so
continue to watch your work.
Yes, my username on majority social medias is Marissa_Imani, Imani with the E, and then also the last ending of that is with an I. And so Marissa Stubbs is basically my name on everything, though. And Marissa Stubbs 16 WAPT is my news page on Facebook. So yeah, if you guys want to follow me, keep up with what I'm doing. I try to post as much as I can. Twitter is where I'm most active, but yeah.
That's good stuff. Well, hey, Marissa, we appreciate you coming in and joining us on the show tonight. We'll be watching, and we'll be supporting, and we can't wait. Did you tell your news director to send you to Tallahassee for November 1?
Listen, y'all, I tried. I can't tell y'all how many people keep asking me if I'm going to be at that game. I tried. But the thing about it is, it's like Tally is 6 hours away from here. So like if I do a day turn, y'all gonna be so tired. And that game, what time? Do we know what time that game is yet?
It's a night game.
Game. There we go. But I will be watching. Of course, I will be reporting on that game.
All right. Sounds good. Again, Marissa Stubbs, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to check her out. Make sure to find her on Instagram or on Twitter and on Facebook. I'm so used to saying Instagram. I mean, it's everywhere. But WAPT, ABC 16, Jackson, Mississippi. We're gonna take our next break. Come back with Vaughn Wilson on the other side. Marissa, appreciate you. Be well, and we'll talk soon. All right.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Things up, baby. Thank
you.
Yes, indeed. This is Bryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
College football fans, a champion will rise in Atlanta on December 13th. MEAC champion, SWAC champion, the 10th Cricket Celebration Bowl, crowning an HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com. ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year. Returning to Atlanta on December 12th, 4 bands will qualify for the big stage, where 2 national champions will be crowned. Follow us for rankings updates throughout the season, and join us on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center, an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
Welcome back to the O&G StrikeZone. Bryan, Kelvin, Marcus, and joining us right now is none other. Welcome back to the O&G, good friend of the program, Vaughn Wilson, president of the Eddie Jackson 220 Quarterback Club, and of course of HBCU Gameday.com. And if you are doing what I did recently, I just popped over, Vaughn, to HBCU Gameday, And the top 5 HBCU stories. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't even know what this 5th story is, but hell, it says SWAC on it. I got a feeling it might involve us. Who knows? Maybe not. But the top 4 stories on HBCUGameday.com in some form or fashion related to FAMU.
Listen, our team is all over the country. I mean, they're located all over. But everybody was turning to me this week like, it's Tallahassee. It's FAMU. It's good, bad, and different. None of it was really good. None of it was good. But you know, it's one of the things you sign up for as a journalist. When you're a journalist, even if it's your institution, you have a responsibility to report to the best of your knowledge the facts. And that's one thing about us at HBCU Game Day. We don't jump out there, and and we're not sensationalized. We're some of us are hardcore journalists, like myself and Tolly, and everyone else has journalistic training. Even though some act like they don't at times, but we do. And so we stay middle of the road most of the time and try to be a place where people can turn to get facts about things. You know, we verify, we call. And so it's looking at the numbers. September was an absolutely record year for us. Not just the FAMU stuff. It's just a record year for us when you look at what's Michael Vick and Deshaun Jackson and what they've injected in the SWAC, Eddie Robinson. There are a lot of things that contributed to that. So I'm talking, we'll be putting out a graphic as they gather all of the data because it's an absolute record year by far, a record month, I'm sorry, by far. And people are interested in what's going on. So it just so happens that in these last 2 weeks, it's been FAMU.
I don't even know which story. I mean, look, we all, how much time, guys, did we spend trying to figure out which story we were going to lead with? I think we spent about 5 minutes. You know, we don't do a whole lot of pre-gaming here on the O&G, but outside of texting and emails, but I think the longest we've taken is trying to figure out what are we going to lead with, because we got like 4 different stories that we could lead with. So I guess, Vaughn, I will start with, as it's on the site, I will start with number 1 here, which has to do with the fact that the game that was scheduled to be in Mercedes-Benz Stadium will not be in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. What can you tell us that we don't know? Which I feel is a lot, but anyway.
Well, it's a disappointment because I know that fans are now scrambling, trying to get deposits back, canceling car reservations. You know, Airbnbs don't often have givebacks, and people do that a lot now. So if people did Airbnb, they're just out of luck, you know. And so the unfortunate thing there is this happened for a couple of reasons. In Mississippi Valley State, and like I said, I'm not going to just throw Mississippi Valley State under the bus. I think our absence of leadership at FAMU contributed heavily to it, because somebody should have looked kind of like I did about 50 days out and say, wait a minute, nothing's out there. And there are benchmarks that have to be met at certain times, and I just didn't see those. And from calling both ticket offices, I didn't get the information that was satisfactory to me, and I kind of threw up a red flag. What I'm imagining is the promoters bit off a little more than they could chew, because they were also trying to do something in Tampa. But when I say leadership, after 2 missed deadlines, Reggie Theus pulled a plug, you know, and they were trying to get him to stay on. And he said, no, we're going to go back to have the game at Daytona. We're going to tone it down, and we'll just have it at Daytona because it's unfair to our fans. So FAMU, without somebody in that position to be able to recognize and assist Valley, who had a new athletic director in place, taking over for interim that started this process, and not having experiences with classics. FAMU knows classics, and we know what should be happening when, and so without Valley having that experience, they were at a disadvantage. Might have been thinking it was normal that things were going along and things weren't happening, probably hoping they eventually would, but it never happened. Things that needed to happen never happened. And so we're here. We're left with Monday, them scrambling, trying to find facilities in Atlanta to have the game, as not to cause people to lose their deposits and airline travels and all those type of things. But it's an unfortunate thing, because a lot of Rattlers were looking forward to going to that game, even some who had not purchased their tickets yet. So I don't have much else to say besides that when we write a story and people put a comment, we get what's called a ping back, and it lets us know that somebody's made a comment. The day after we ran the story about the game not being in Mercedes-Benz, we wake up to all of these pingbacks because people are trying to get their refunds, and they're getting a message that made people uncomfortable. The message said, from Ticketmaster said, you'll be refunded. You don't have to do anything. You'll be refunded to the source that you bought your ticket, once the event planners return the funds. That's what it says.
So it's not coming back from Ticketmaster per se. Is that what you're saying?
Apparently it will come from Ticketmaster, will refund everybody after they get refunded from the event planners. That's what the message says. So I thought it was a hoax. I really did. You know me, I got to go find some sources. I was looking around and some other people didn't have that on there. Then I went to the Georgia Football Classic website and hit tickets, and the Ticketmaster link showed me that exact thing that people were telling us was there. So that's a concern that's a concern. That's the latest concern on that game. It's unfortunate. The game is Thanksgiving weekend in Edabina, but that forced our coaches. That's the time when you need to be recruiting. Recruiting now is kind of difficult because you want to see the good teams. You want to see who's in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Who has the better athletes. So they had to scramble, make plans, and try to at least go see somebody. You got to be at least in the game of recruiting to have any kind of chance to get some of these athletes, and even the junior college athletes. So the coaches went into a scramble to try to get a handle on some recruits for the next season.
Hey, Kelvin, before you go, and I don't know if this is maybe something you were going to ask, but when Vaughn mentioned benchmarks, can you expand on when you mentioned benchmarks that caused the last game, the one that was going to be in Tampa, to fall apart? And what were those, and were there similar benchmarks in this situation in Atlanta that were missed?
From what I hear, they were very similar, but like I said, there was not the person with the eyes on those benchmarks to make the decision like Theus did. Valley, current AD, was new, so she was not familiar. She was trying to get her feet in the ground at Valley. FAMU had a deputy AD that did not have a whole bunch of authority. So you had a situation where there was the absence of that, at least one rock solid leader who was aware of what was going on and could have made a decision earlier.
Vaughn, to that point, when you mentioned, and once again, it's not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but in the case of Bethune-Cookman and Southern, Reggie Theus made the decision as BCU's AD. Was that because it was Southern's home? I mean, sorry, God, goodness gracious, BCU's home game to relocate to Tampa. So in this instance, in theory, the onus should have been on the home team's AD to look at those benchmarks and make that decision.
Absolutely. But just as I said, she was new, and by the time she got in her office, some of those benchmarks had been missed already. So with her trying to figure out what was going on, it's kind of unfair to blame her to walk into that and just immediately grasp it. It's a lot to grasp in that contract. No. And from what I hear, she was uncomfortable with it. The more she heard of, the more she dug into it.
Okay. On the FAMU side, would we be aware of the missed benchmarks, or would that be out of our purview because it was a Valley home game, or any team in that situation? Would the benchmarks be made known to the home team who's relocating? How does that work?
Yeah, it's a kind of sticky situation because it's Valley's home game, so FAMU pretty much has to kind of follow the lead. When someone is the home team, they are in charge. When it becomes a neutral game, you have a little more say, but the onus is on the home team to provide the game site and the facility.
And the information, I guess.
And the information, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna add some street committee stuff to this.
Some in.
So one of the differences between the Tampa game and Atlanta game is that the venue, that was a pro stadium too. The venue kind of alerted everybody, both institutions, the promoters, say, hey, the numbers, the math ain't mathing. So typically when you have large events, again, these are pro venues, so they know what's going to be successful and what's not going to be successful. So they sound the alarm. And as Vaughn indicated, people made informed decisions. I think in the case of the Atlanta game, while the information was shared, but I think the decision was, hey, let's see what ticket sales look like. They rode it to the end, because if you have ticket sales money into the coffers, then the venue can get their money out of that. And according to the street committee, the message,
right a lot of times, to be honest, who is right a lot of times.
The message that Vaughn is referencing, I would tell you, as someone who's worked every major venue, including the Buck Stadium, the Miami, all the Miami stadiums. I don't think I ever worked the Benz though. But I worked most pro stadiums in the South. The venues only use their own vendors. So even when they reach an agreement and improve a venue, which they vet, and based on who it is, they can negotiate certain things about it, but they're not going to allow you, because their brand is on the line too. You got to remember, the Mercedes-Benz is the most used stadium in the country. Not only is it home to the Falcons and the soccer, but it's also home to several bowl games, pre-games, preseason games, postseason games, the college championship, concerts. They're constantly having events there.
High school.
So if you can let myself try to go up there and try to negotiate that I'm going to use that venue, I won't get anywhere with it at all. So for it to get this far tells you that people may have had access. They knew who this third party was, but they also knew the money wasn't there. We also know that you can't sign a contract the 1st of August and sell tickets on September 2nd and expect for the event to be. And both schools knew that too. So there were some decisions that could have been made earlier. I think people wanted to make it work, but this is business. Mm-hmm. And our fan base, you know, to be honest, we check the check a lot of times. And so giving us 4 weeks to plan to go do something is difficult for some of our fan base. And then you add to it, it's an opponent that's not a natural rivalry, that doesn't have much of a fan base. You add to it, you got an 0-4 team and a 1-3 team. As Vaughn indicated, the warning signs was there. And everybody, it's not a case where I think people were trying to be shady. It's pretty much what he said. If you don't have a title sponsor and you don't have a TV media deal, you ain't gonna be successful at a pro stadium. The Detroit Classic happened at Ford Field this year. It did have the support of the Detroit Council, but it had 1,700 people in a pro stadium. You know, they lost out the woozy on that. Same thing with the Circuit City Classic. It had 3,700 people. So here's my point, and I'm gonna be shut up the rest of this segment. Regular classic rivalries like the Florida Classic, the Bayou Classic, the Turkey Day Classic, the State Fair Classic, which are traditional rivals that have a long history, happen every year in neutral sites, they are much different than a neutral site game. You can't just put anybody in a market and draw, number one. In the days of having HBCU neutral site games at pro stadiums are going to be limiting unless we do the contract the way it has to be done, where the schools have some skin in the game. There's no free money, and I said this last night or the other night, there's no free money out there. You can't expect people to give you $500,000 and pay for all these expenses to travel, your band and everything, rent the event. Those events gonna fail every time unless you got big money behind it. You got to have $2 million starting out probably, and then the schools have to sell at least $300,000-$400,000 worth of tickets, and then maybe keep that part if you're gonna do non-traditional rivalry classic games. So that's my little spiel, my opinion on it. Go ahead.
I think you're exactly right, though, Kelvin. Everything you said is just spot on. It's there. The bottom line is there are a lot of factors in putting on that game. There's a lot of money. There are a ton of logistics to pull off an event like that. It's not like a party at a club. It's a whole different monster.
Yeah.
Vaughn, I don't know if you're at liberty to say, given your position at HBCU Game Day, but as a FAMU fan, when you saw this come down the pike or announced during the summer and you saw the flyer come out, what were your thoughts on?
My thoughts were, I always heard it was $1 million to rent Mercedes-Benz. Who's putting up the $1 million to rent Mercedes-Benz? That was my thought. And even when I saw that, it was just like, who's going to put up $1 million this close to the game? That was my concern. I was hoping it would happen. There were a lot of positives of it happening. It was set, and everything about it said it was a revisit to the Atlanta Football Classic. Everything about it, the game Georgia Football Classic, everything about it said a revisitation of the Atlanta Football Classic. But the difference is the Atlanta Football Classic was FAMU against Southern. You can play that game in Itta Bena and it's going to be packed. I promise you. you can play it in New York City. It's going to be packed. It's going to be because those are two traveling fan bases. And with Tennessee State, it was close enough to draw fans as well. As I said, 2003 Atlanta Football Classic, 70,000. 2002 and 2004, 67,000. It hit a chord. They hit a chord. But you had two natural rivals with two great bands, the ability, and then there were less classics at the time. So they were they were big fish in a small pond. But now there are so many classics, it's diluted now. And so I think just some of the luster of a new classic, because so many have failed. You know, we did the fifth quarter classic in Mobile some years ago. It wasn't it was a game. It's not a classic. A classic is a packed house, two great rivals, a great game, a great battle of the band, great ancillary events, and too many classics came on with the name classics, but it didn't have all of those elements. And that's what diluted the name classic and the expectation around a classic.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, before we transition to the other big story that hit this evening, Vaughn, I want you to clarify or maybe expound on, and I think I read this out of your article, or maybe this is just floating around the interwebs, regarding the impact of A.D. Suggs' comments at the National Alumni Convention. To my knowledge, once there were rumors that had come out via a Facebook post that this Valley game was going to happen in Atlanta. She had made comments at the National Alumni Convention, which then triggered, as I've heard you state before and write, the article, the first article inquiring and making inquiries to not only Valley, but the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Did that hurt this event from happening in any way? I mean, not to say that she's responsible anyway, but like the early release of talking about it before all the I's have been dotted and the T's crossed, I guess.
Let me make this real clear, Bryan. That gave it its only chance because nothing was said. That her statement gave it its only chance of happening. Because how long are you going to hold the information before you? So people started from that. The ticket sales that were made probably were as a result of that announcement. The ticket sales that you actually got, because there was an alert. You can't wait till the last minute and hold this information in. People got to make travel plans and that. So that statement by Suggs at the time she did it probably gave the game its only chance or its best chance of being successful because there was a longer lead time. The problem is after she said that and after Valley released their statement, it went silent for a while. It went silent. Nothing happened until we started asking questions. Well, wait a minute. We got a game coming in 50 days. When are the tickets going to go on sale? So her statement was the only chance this classic had because it needed to start selling tickets.
Well, let me just add to that. According to the street committee, when she made that statement, it happened to just be being broadcast, right? Streamed.
Mm-hmm.
But it was something that was meant to be intimate to get the stakeholders there as we talk about athletics, what was coming. It wasn't meant technically to be released to everybody. And according to the street committee, the contract wasn't signed at that point.
Mm-hmm.
The discussions that happened, there was an agreement in place, but there's a process that happened, and the processes at FAMU, and Vaughn is very aware of this, can be quite lengthy sometimes. So the contract wasn't actually signed. I can't speak for Valley, but the contract wasn't signed till August. So therefore, there was no promotion. It was quiet. There was no tickets, and that should have been red flag number 2 at least. Yeah.
Okay. The other big story that dropped, it's sort of the latest news regarding Joe Bullard's comments. The SWAC released as of 6 o'clock Eastern news report that they are dropping a $10,000 fine on FAMU for the comments. And also there is a 2-game suspension of Joe as the public address announcer, but it's a little vague in my opinion. I'm assuming you're up on this, Vaughn. You've seen this where they make this statement that in addition to the $10,000 fine for inappropriate comments made over the public address system that occurred during the Saturday football game, the public address announcer will be suspended for the next 2 upcoming football games. Have you had a chance to dig into any of that yet? Because we were talking about it at the beginning of the show, and I just did a search through the SWAC. This is unprecedented based on fines that they have fined a public address announcer. The last time a band fined was, according to their site, was 2012. So I don't know. Can you add anything that you've been able to gather over the last couple hours?
No, it's really fresh, and I've read it. But one thing that seems to be a common thread, I looked at it. So I read the article, and then I read a lot of threads that had it reposted on social media. And to be honest, even other SWAC schools are questioning this because it's just of course, we're not condoning the actual words that Joe used, but the banter of bands. I mean, if you were at that stadium, did you all hear what Alabama State band was chanting?
Whoop that trick.
No, the FAMU. Did you hear the FAMU? Oh, of course. Of course. Okay. Oh, it got ugly. But that's part of good, bad, and different. It's part of that culture of the marching band competition. That's a whole nother stratosphere, the bands from the game. Yeah. I mean, it's a part of the game, but they have their own atmosphere, and it's very competitive. And so a lot of people on a lot of responses from other schools, I was not surprised to see them say that this is baloney. I was not shocked to see them say this is baloney. On the commissioner side, you know, you got news coming out of your conference that's going all the way up to the absolute mainstream of mainstream media agencies. Mm-hmm. So you almost have to react to make your conference look legitimate. So it's a catch-22. If you're just sitting there and doing nothing while people and TMZ and Yahoo and BET and everyone is reporting about something that happened at one of your schools that in general terms are unacceptable, and you as a conference don't do anything, you're almost backed into a corner. I didn't expect that, but that's what they came up with.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask this, Vaughn. The SWAC is a NCAA sanctioned Division I conference that deals with athletic sanctioned sports. The marching band is not any of that. There's no SWAC band. And I understand it's a SWAC event in terms of a game, but this wasn't even had anything to do with the game itself. So where does the jurisdiction come from to give sanctions? I can understand FAMU making that decision to and I understand, and the street committee said it was supposed to be one game. That's what the school wanted. But whether it's 1 or 2 games, I get that. But this whole fine, where in the bylaws, how does the conference get to find a school for their marching band announcer?
Well, under the, and I read the article about 3 times because I was looking for that, but it encapsulated it under something called ethics and something of that nature. It used 2 words that I'm sure are probably in the bylaws that it says was violated. I don't have it in front of me right now, but I'm sure that is where anything associated with a game at your school could possibly be, like if something on the scoreboard happens that's inappropriate, or I think it used the word appropriate.
So it's like a Jerry Curl picture with
with a brick cell phone.
I'm serious. Where do you draw the line?
Right.
Yeah.
I think. Well, this case sets a precedent.
Yeah.
Just like FAMU said, and other schools said, okay, when we see somebody say that, we're gonna report it. You know, when we see somebody do something outside the lines, we're going to report it. So they may just be starting
something that they can't police.
They may have opened Pandora's box because they're going to have to be reviewing all of these instances of things going on and happening that are normal occurrences that we don't think much about.
All right.
Mm-hmm. And that was one of the things we talked about earlier, Vaughn. And like when we first opened this segment, it's like, well, I guess the question I had is, what precedent does this set? Was there precedent before to do this action? And Bryan was looking that up. And what precedent does it set going forward in terms of the band banter back and forth? And what are the lines? I mean, that, the comment itself was kind of like, shot below the belt. But if that is a typical band culture type of, banter below the belt, then is everybody going to start walking on eggshells? And the other question I have, and we don't know, and maybe the NNN/street committee can answer, was in terms of this being brought up, was this, well, how can I ask this? Was the exposure level of our new president and the reaction to the comment, did it propel this getting to where it was? And I don't know if I'm asking it right.
FAMU's president or Alabama State, because FAMU president
immediately
again it had to say something because Alabama State's president said something. So you had to have some response. You can't just sit there and and not say anything.
Yeah, I didn't see who said something first, so I didn't know if it was like, the newness of our new president to this environment and hearing that and saying, oh, okay, I got to get in front of this, or I got to apologize, or whether something came from Alabama State that said, hey, okay.
President Ross wrote the first letter.
Okay.
Right. and condemned it, and saying that it happened at FAMU. So FAMU's you can't just take that punch. You gotta level out the playing field and at least say, hey, we realized something happened. We apologize to our guest, Alabama State. So that was the gist of her letter. Okay. But she had to write that. You just like the commissioner had to do something.
Yeah, as a response. Yeah, I just
you have to do some kind of response, or it seems like you don't care about it, or you're not concerned about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, Sunday I saw her letter first, so I didn't see his, so I didn't know if she was like, okay, I got to get ahead of this, or I can't believe they just said that, so I got to do something. But if the president of Alabama State says something first, then that makes sense. I didn't know if it was just her being new to the HBCU environment, hearing something like that over the speaker. She was like, oh.
Yeah, Ron Jaff said that president had the letter typed 2 hours after the game. It came out fast after the game. It really did come out fast. So just like you're saying, so president got to say something. There's this big hype. The videos are hitting the social media circuit. Alabama State's president has condemned it. You have to say something. Mm-hmm. And I thought the letter didn't go too far. I thought it was just it was what it needed to be. I thought Joe was big. I like Joe's apology. It was short and to the point, and it seemed sincere, and that needed to happen as well. It also proved that he didn't try to hurt those young ladies' feelings. Listen, the band announcers and somebody else said it in the chat, say, "Oh man, it's gonna be boring." Yeah, because we're used to that banter going right up to that line. We needed to go right up to that line, and I hope it doesn't back out and become vanilla, because that'll be no fun for any of us. It needs to go right back up to that line, and so many times they go right to the line and then back down. That's when it's fun. When they say something interesting. But I'm wondering, I'm sorry, so many comments on there, but somebody said, "Oh my goodness, they're gonna go back to vanilla announcing," and we don't want that. I'm telling you, we don't want that.
We'll see, because there'll be a whole slew of rivalry games coming up. Like, you got Alabama State and Jackson State in 2 weeks. I don't know when the Magic City Classic's happening, so there's gonna be a lot of things even before the Florida Classic to see if folks are getting a little gun shy or if they're still doing what they do.
We've seen a bird being shot at us on the field. We've seen, you know what I'm saying, on an ESPN game. Bethune formed a bird shooting us a hand with the middle finger up. And guess what we did? Kept it moving.
Jesus. All right, Vaughn, let people know where they can find you. Obviously, HBCUGameday.com, but I don't know. We're trying to see if we can go 5 for 5. I don't know if you got a fifth story that can jump in there. Maybe the story that you'll actually, I don't know. There might be a fifth story. You got a fifth story that can jump in?
Man, I don't think we have a fifth. I think
you got one. You just ain't gonna release it right now.
How Dave Chappelle say 5. The fifth.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Fifth.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to. Before I go, I gotta say this. I stole Bryan from O&G StrikeZone to be our play-by-play in the Rattler Football Network, and it sounds amazing. When you get the station manager send you an email during the game of how great it sounds, that tells you how great a job they're doing. Bryan, you're knocking it out the park, brother. You keep doing that. We're going to be hard as hell to keep on to you. But the professional job you're doing on that broadcast on the Rattler Football Network, and it's probably going to be really, really important for the makeup game in Itabena, because most likely Thanksgiving weekend, TV is full. TV's full. It's not going to be a spot there. So people are probably the only way that they can catch that game will be you and Albert. So I want to commend Bryan on doing an amazing job. Sometime if you're at the game, just put your headset on and listen to 96.1, because Bryan is getting it in.
Appreciate you, man. I appreciate you thinking of me and bringing me into the Rattler Football Network family. I'm honored. I'm humbled. I love working with Albert. Still call him Mr. Chester. And you and Chris does a great job, and so it's fun, man. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, brother.
All right. Coming up on the other side of the break, Stahsay, Gordone coming on, and we ain't done talking about stuff. As Kelvin said on Monday, we don't duck the smoke. We still holding on to some stories. There's more breaking news coming. We still holding on to stuff. So don't go anywhere. It's not too late. Just hang tight. Vaughn, we appreciate you coming in and joining us tonight, man. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Anytime, brother.
All right. We'll be back right after these words right here on the O&G Strike Zone.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Planning an event? From weddings to corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC brings over 15 years of experience to make your vision a reality. Based in Metro Atlanta and serving statewide, even internationally, we provide versatile event planning and authentic catering cuisines tailored to your needs. Whether it's pre-game meals for student athletes, fundraisers, weddings, corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC is your one-stop solution for exceptional service and unforgettable food. Our diverse culinary heritage means we cater to all cultural tastes, dietary needs, and food restrictions, making every meal uniquely yours. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Visit us on all social media at CMJ Events LLC or email us at cmjeventsllc@gmail.com. Also give us a call at 404-664-3882 so that we can start planning now.
College football fans, a champion will rise in Atlanta on December 13th. MEAC champion, SWAC champion, the 10th Cricket Celebration Bowl, crowning an HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and parenting education coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year. Returning to Atlanta on December 12th, 4 bands will qualify for the big stage, where 2 national champions will be crowned. Follow us for rankings updates throughout the season, and join us on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
All right, welcome back to O&G StrikeZone. Bryan, Kelvin, Marcus, and there she is, none other than welcome back.
Stahsay. Her name's Stahsay.
Stahsay.
What the hell is Stahsay? Don't look at my stuff. I mean, my cousin day thing. I'm doing my cousin nails, and I had to be in her garage, so don't judge me. Okay.
No judgment. How you doing, dear? How you doing?
I can't complain. I want to, but I can't. I may get fined for it.
Well, look. If they haven't kicked you off of social media yet, you're doing all right. You're doing all right. Even though
nobody gonna come beat me up about it. Because if you do, I'm gonna call police. So exactly. No. So I don't care what people say. You're not whatever.
Well, okay. So for those of you who don't remember or aren't familiar, Stahsay is a Marching 100 alum, comedian, artist, musician, and this Saturday's event featuring what should have just been a normal halftime show between two bands. Two good SWAC bands turned into something a little more after Joe Bullard's comments. And so you had some comments and thoughts that we saw on social media, but I wanted to just kind of come to you and just get your thoughts on the uproar. I mean, did you catch it live, and when did it hit you? And then you were like, whoa, wait a minute, what is going on here? So I'm gonna get out the way and kind of just let us know how it all came.
I didn't. Okay, so I didn't catch it live, but on Facebook it goes live, right? So on Facebook, what was happening was people was like, "Oh, Joe." Some people was laughing, some people was saying other stuff, and I was like, "Okay, what is going on here?" Because let me see. So I went and looked at the clip, and as a comedian, I laughed because one of my favorite comedians is George Carlin, and he has a skit about words, and words in itself and of itself mean absolutely nothing. It is the context and the intent. And so my whole thing was his intent was for it to be a joke. His intent was not for it to hurt or harm anybody. And I feel like when Jimmy Kimmel said what he said and got his job snatched, these same people were begging for Jimmy Kimmel to get his job back. And these same people were laughing at the death of Charlie Kirk, even though I don't too much care for him at all. But you know, he got killed in front of his kids. Like, if you're gonna have any empathy or anything, but then if you say that, then you're a coon. You know, people are gonna stop being your friend. And so I just got tired of the hypocrisy, because we these same people that saying they're offended were in college in 2011 calling us murder you and all kind of other stuff, making memes about buses, being very insensitive to Robert Champion's family. And now that, so you know, so what I figured is, we can talk and laugh about death, but don't talk about BBWs. Am I wrong? I mean, we can call us all kind of stuff, but if you talk about a big black woman, that's to you. And it's just like, okay, come on, guys. Like, he said something. It's like trash talking. Like, y'all said nothing when Kendrick Lamar called that man an A minor and saying he messed with little kids. Y'all were all screaming it at the Super Bowl, and that was their way of trash talking. Like, when rappers battle, same thing with announcers. When bands battle, our announcers is a part of our battle. And now what you've done is taken our battle away. So since everybody's offended, I got a list of things I'm offended of. Yes, I'm offended of all rap music. Ban that. Any band playing rap music with cursing words in it, I'm offended. If you're talking about B's and H's and telling women to twerk and shake their behind, take it away. Have something else. Twerking. I don't want to see not a damn band shake their behind. I'm offended. I don't want you to see you humping the ground. I'm offended, because now I got to explain to my kids why you're gyrating on the floor. All right? Any song that has any explicit lyrics, it should not be played on band fields ever. Matter of fact, all dancing music and explicit clothing. That's right, dancers. We don't want to see you in bathing suits. We want to see you in full clothes. Why are you out there half naked? I'm offended. All right? I mean, like, how far is this offense going to go? How far are we going?
That's a good point. That's a good point. And then with the latest news that broke this evening, the conference has got involved to the point of fining FAMU $10,000. And there is now we still don't know whether this is a conference levied suspension or whether it's a FAMU leveled suspension, but there is a 2-game suspension that has been levied of 2 football games. It doesn't say home games or just 2 games in general for presumably Joe Bullard. That's the latest.
Right. I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's still crap, because why wasn't Southern's universities banned when they bought those big guys out there in those sloppy white shirts and those sloppy blue and brown or black pants, and said instead of they were being the honey bees, they were the honey bears. Okay, not only were the honey bears, let's just really talk about it. Honey bees and hornets are mortal enemies. Why are they even like in the same school? But once again, you know, we're talking about Alabama here. I don't know. Like, is that not provocative? What if about my little daughter saw that? I'm offended. I'm very offended. And then the announcer said a combined weight of 2,134 pounds. The Honey Bears. Who were they picking at? A whole 1 minute and 30-second show dedicated to mocking these women. And aren't this the same exact group that started off because y'all wouldn't allow the big girls to be on the smaller girls team, which in 2004, allegedly from the article I read from the band director, because most of the girls couldn't make the team, they would go to flag. So he made that for those women. You discriminated within your own band. Why aren't the big girls with the small girls if they can do the same thing? And then the very first song that you came out on was Go, Go, Big Girl, What You Go Do? Go, Go, Big Girl. And once again, the comment, I have dark humor. Y'all listen to all kind of stuff. Y'all love Corey Holcomb. You know, you laughed at Charlie Kirk, like, miss it. So the dark humor was dark. Okay, I get it, but it was still humor because intent was never meant to hurt. But he didn't say they were big. That was a comment like, you're losing weight, which means you're getting smaller. I don't know. I just feel like it was blown out of proportion. I feel like, where was the apology asked for Southern University's ban to mock those women. That's mocking them. And then somebody, that's not the same.
What did we lose, Stahsay?
Okay,
I'm
so
losing
it's
all
like,
kinds
okay, great. You okay? Is that all right?
Yeah, we got you. I don't know. I somehow I lost your picture. We lost your picture there. But that's all right.
But
We hear
it's
your
like,
voice,
okay, when is it feasible to pick at them? So you can shuck and jive on the field and pick at the way they dance, pick at the way they look, call them, you know, the men honeybee. And then you got men up there. Why you just didn't get the women, bigger women from your band or, you know what I'm saying, from your school? Why did you put men in front of the field to impersonate women when all the time in history shows that a lot of time to degrade women, especially black women, we will masculate them and tell them that they are manly looking, and that's what you did. You put men on the field, but that's funny. But you know, Joe Bullard comment wasn't. I don't believe you should be able to take the power away from media. This is why you same people was around here fighting for Jimmy Kimmel's job, and he got it back. But then you want Joe Bullard to be retired and washed up, and it's just like black people sometimes are harder on ourselves than we are on others. We give grace to many other races than we give to our own selves. We want us by the stake, but you know, Jimmy Kimmel can laugh at a dead person because you didn't like what the man said, but you're the same people that holler freedom of speech. I mean, I have so many mixed feelings. I think the president of ASU blew it out of proportion. I believe FAMU has been under attack since we got into the SWAC. We have always been told we're not SWAC enough. And then some of y'all been in SWAC all your life and don't have a championship. So I mean, I think that's SWAC enough. I think whoever SWAC should be the ones that have the championship, right? None of y'all have won that against the MEAC yet, but about us, right? So we gave y'all a championship, and that's still not good enough. Either we're Christmas in July or we're not. And it's like I feel like every attack, we are literally under the limelight. We can't breathe. And these same women that's right here talking about, I can't believe big women, was the same women talking about the wig of our own president, the makeup of our own president, and how she looks. Now, is it about women empowerment and black women, or is it not? And see, black men can't say this. Because if they say that, then they're real chauvinists. And I believe every last one of them probably think the same way. Y'all hypocrites. Why y'all ain't go buy our president a good wig? Why one of y'all, if you care so much?
That's why we quiet over here. Hold on, I'm put myself on mute.
You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all hypocrites. You want to pick and choose when you got mad. And God forgive me, as an ex-female that used to be 210 pounds myself, you probably got upset because I remember when they say fat jokes, I used to get upset about fat jokes because I was fat.
Stahsay, let me ask a question here. And Kelvin, I don't know if before you want to jump in, but I'm curious, when were you made aware of the Southern half? Because I had never seen it until you posted it. And that underscores your point that nobody brought this up. This wasn't a viral thing. Nobody in the HBCU Twitter spaces was talking about that halftime performance. When did that come on your radar?
Somebody sent it to me after they saw my rants. They was like, have you seen this? Southern University just did this 3 weeks ago. And then somebody sent me a picture of a guy from, I think it was Jackson or something like that, holding up a sign that says, yo, Honeybee should play tuba. And it was a kid in the band that held up this sign. Now, we all know that the bigger people play tuba. I don't know why people try to act like skinny people play tuba. Yeah, but we be shocked when skinny people play tuba and big people play piccolo. So don't act like we be like, now why that big person playing piccolo? They could have got on tuba. We've said that. We've done that. At least I know I have. At least I know the band world has. And I don't understand, where did y'all get soft? Because you dang sure wasn't soft when you was picking at the death of my friend. You wasn't soft. Y'all went in hard. Called me a murderer and I wasn't even one. I'm the one that took the last picture of all of the drum majors standing like this, the actual ones that was marching, and then the alumni drum majors. That picture has gone viral. I took that. And I was supposed to go back to that hotel because I was like, when did you become a drum major? He was like, bro, come back. So where were y'all? You know what I'm saying? We had to eat that. I had to eat that. I had to come up with witty jokes. I had to dang on cry at night, and none of y'all cared. And y'all were attending the school then, some of you. And I didn't hear a president. I didn't hear an alumni. I didn't hear nobody from nobody else's school speak up. which lets me know FAMU is just simply under attack. You hate orange and green. And I understand when you arrogant, when you confident, when you got it, when you la Florida, you can't help it. Don't get mad because we got sunshine 20, for steady. Just saying. I just feel like that's what it is. Like, because what other reason could it be? Either you mad that big black women get picked at or you're not. So if you're going to be mad at big black women getting picked at, that means nobody should do a dance routine to mock them either. I want Southern University's banned, suspended for 2 games. How far are we going to go with this? Then if I call for that, then I'm going to have Southern hating me. But it's like, no, bro. Either you going to serve everybody the same plate or you not. That's like coming to a buffet and then you get to order something in the back while everybody, no, we ain't doing that. Equality across the board.
Yeah. It does seem like it's going to be very difficult for them to be able to police this. They kind of set a precedent with no end game, unfortunately.
How far does offense go?
Yeah.
How far do being offended goes? I'm offended y'all humping the ground. I'm offended you playing explicit music. I'm offended that you're turning around, bending over, and shaking your butts in front of children. I'm offended. I'm going to be the Candace Owen of marching bands. You hear me? I am going to find out every announcer. I ain't never watched no band show but FAMU, but baby, I'm finna be on it like white on rice. You better speak with poise. Matter of fact, don't even say nothing about the other band. You say something about the other band, I'm offended. Because why is you mention us during your show? How far are we going?
Where is the band community in this? I mean, you brought, look, again, we're not band people, and you brought up stuff that I'm sure a lot of people.
That's why I got my cleaning stuff out here, because I need to clean this crap up. Because this is crap. It's crap. I can say crap, right? When I get y'all fined $10,000 for that, I don't have that.
I wish. I don't know where I don't know where they're getting $10,000 from, even if they wanted to fine us. But no, you're good.
Just don't get Bryan suspended.
Yeah, don't get me suspended. That's all. But anyway, so what is the vibe like amongst the band community? Well, I mean, obviously, let me start with Marching 100 alum. Let's start with Marching 100 alumni.
I can't speak for the Alumni Association. Only the president can, right? Out of respect.
But I mean, just your peers that you talk to.
I have seen mixed reviews, but really only about 2 mixed reviews of someone just like both parties, like this both taken out of proportion. But majority of the people are, sticking up with me. A lot of them can't really, comment or say stuff because they may or may not have jobs that may or may not get fined and taken right now. So I've gotten calls. I've gotten support right now on Twitter. I didn't even share it on Twitter because I don't even go on there. But somehow combined, like 3 videos been shared. It's combined almost 50,000 people don't watch that. On my Facebook page alone, it's about 20,000 people that have watched my video. On TikTok, it's probably about maybe 5 now, but it's about 4,000 for sure on TikTok. And I forgot I didn't make my Instagram public, and I just did again. So I don't know the numbers from there. But and people are sharing it. So we can't say that everybody thinks the way that the people who want to find the man and scalp him and hang him by the stake and crucify him. I mean, you are Jesus. I mean, Lord. It's not that many people who feel that way in the band world, because it's minus the people that just hate FAMU, because other people who really, they like, bro, we trash talk. Like, what do rappers do? They make diss tracks. That's our diss track. Y'all are now taking the power away from our diss track because you're mad at an Ozempic joke. And you know what's more funny to me? That people are saying, oh, ASU dropping a bag. They should get an NIL deal with Ozempic. You trying to say all them girls got daggone high blood pressure and diabetes? Because that ain't a flex either. If Ozempic supports them, that means they're sick. So it's like on one end, y'all I don't know. Everybody's just so sensitive. I don't know if it's COVID. I don't know. I'm just afraid to breathe. It's like, she breathed wrong. I'm offended. Find her.
Is there a line? Let me ask that. How about that? Is there a line? Because obviously we talked about in the last segment, the band banter has always been go right up to the line. But what is the line?
What is the line when Bethune-Cookman formed Damn You first?
Okay.
Stuck up the middle finger. We were in an uproar. Our president didn't call for their president to apologize, and we were in a uproar. Then the next year they put scam you. Isn't that not defamation of character? It's like, I don't know. I don't know if Florida argue different or the fact that we are in the SWAC and they hate us. And I keep leaning toward we are in the SWAC and they hate us. Because no matter what we do, we're not great. We win the Sutler Award. It's the white man's award, but it's the highest any marching band award you can ever get. Just like a Grammy is the highest music award you can get. Just like an Oscar is the highest, acting award that you can get. Man, here it is. We got that. We're not good enough for that. They go to Paris, they're not good enough for that. Go to Tim, they're not good enough for that. I just think y'all mad because you see, regardless of what we went through in 2011, we still bounce back and we're still America's band, and you hate us and you want to attack us. There's no other way. I mean, dang on it, ASU. You kicked our behinds in our own field. You couldn't just walk away with that victory. You couldn't just say, I don't care what the announcer said. We just beat your behind, bumper conference winning. Like, you couldn't just do that. Where's the sportsmanship when football players say F you on the field, when football players say nasty stuff and we catch it and we laugh? But it's the sport in football, but not with FAMU, but yes, with Southern. Can I stick up the middle finger? Because I don't want to get you fined.
I don't see your video. Video's not showing right now, so you could be shooting a double bird right now. We wouldn't see it right now.
I'm not. I'm just saying Bethune-Cookman didn't get fined. I was thinking I had the same grace.
You know what's funny? We win the band of the year, and now all of a sudden all the bands got issues with the ESPN Band of the Year competition. Just saying.
Listen, they told us it was rigged. It was rigged. They're lying. Like, no matter what we win the number one HBCU, we win this. It's no, y'all still suck. No, you're still murderers. No, you're still a scam. No, with all this, because there's no other school that could have went through what we have gone through and survived. Clock all of that tea. And that's what we take a licking and keep on ticking. And you're mad about it. And now that you got Marva there, y'all know, come on, let's really talk about it. You got Marva there, and every black person believes she was sent there to destroy FAMU. Now, some of y'all don't, but majority of you do. So what better way to make a complaint every time with a president that was sent to destroy the university in the get-go? But I'm going to let you know like this. If FAMU go down, there will be no more HBCUs. Second of all, just get rid of marching bands because all of y'all copied off of Dr. Foster. Yes, even you, ASU, Dr. Lau, studied with Dr. Foster. I know because I studied with Dr. Lau at Stibben for a semester and know his family very well here in Orlando, Florida.
Talk about that for a second. Talk about that history that the two bands have and what you just brought up there.
So Dr. Lau's, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure if he did a workshop, but he used to work hand in hand at FAMU. He left there and studied under Foster. He left there and went and started ASU band. He also started Stillman College band. A lot of people don't know that. I think it was 1999, if I'm not mistaken. So he started 2 college HBCU bands, but they all studied under Dr. Foster because it was a different style. It was high knee lifting, dancing, fast rattling. This is why ASU rattles. You rattle. You may call it fast marching, but baby, it's rattling. And how do I know this? Because at Stillman, they made us do the same thing. So I feel like it's family business. It was big brother, little brother, or daddy, son, right? And you just mad at dad. You're mad at dad. I don't know what else to say. You're mad at dad. You'll never get a Sutler. You'll never be America's band. You'll never go to Paris. Maybe now that I'm saying it, hopefully it go viral and you get something. But once again, you got something because it was off the backs of what FAMU said. So we still gonna take credit. I just wish I wouldn't hate us so much. If you forgave your baby daddy for cheating on you, you should forgive FAMU. That's all I'm saying. And have another baby with him. I mean, just.
Oh, Jesus. Kelvin, Marcus, y'all got anything for Stahsay here? Because I mean, she done dropped the mic on a couple different notes, and I'm like, wow, beautiful stuff.
Good thing we don't run for no smoke here, because she bringing straight smoke.
We
I'm an Aries, so wherever there's smoke, there's gonna be fire, and I'm fire.
What else do you have going on right now other than these viral videos? Give us if you would, while we got you for a minute here or two before we close out our segment with you. Just what else you got going on in your life?
Like I said, I still write music for TV shows. I actually just got paid from what is it? One of them little places, BMI. They just sent me a check. I still write songs for movies and TV shows. Actually, if anybody know and don't want to write a song, let me know, because we got some stuff they're doing for Love Island. They want us to do some stuff. So if you can write music, hit me up. Working, I don't want to tell people where I work, because then now they may get me fired. You know what I'm saying? But I'm doing big things, still teaching music, teach private lessons, teach voice, teach piano, teach trumpet, teach French horn, and I'm gonna still work with the kids without being in the school system. So if you think you're going, oh, she a teacher, I quit for people like y'all. That's why your kids are okay. Your kids, I love your kids. I can have them together. It's y'all. It's you adults. It's the ones who your daddy wasn't there to say. Black man, that's why you got to be in your children's lives. I'm just saying, all of this is the main reason why black men got to step up and tell their child, you are somebody. That way words won't offend them the way they offended them. But boy, I swear to God, y'all are really, really like offended.
Can we put in a request? We need a new promo for our show. I just think, Kelvin, we found a voice for our new promo. I should have reached out to Stahsay a long time ago, but I think I found the voice to do our promo for we need to do a little 30-second promo for the network. We
I got you all right there. That's right up my alley. And I can put on my very educated voice if need be. But I'm gonna talk like this on that promo, so I'm just getting because I'm from Florida. And to let people know, please don't let it fool you. I do sing in 6 or 7 different languages. Okay. I play 3 instruments. Don't let this fool you. I'm very educated. I just like to take things lighthearted because y'all take things so seriously. It's people out here that never died before, dying.
Hey, Ashton, Kofi listening right now. He laughing his tail off right now in spirit. I know he is. I 100% right now.
That's my dog. Maybe don't do that. That's my dog. He's the one that pushed me to talk on podcasts.
Sure.
So
he did. He did. We eternally grateful for him introducing us to you and for you being a part of our O&G family. So, like I said, I know I hadn't reached out in a minute, but there's always
it be like that sometimes. But you reached out when you were supposed to.
Amen. And I'm glad. I'm glad we have your perspective out there because, like you said, it is. We are, you can see it. That we are under attack. I mean, hell, I was just telling this at the start of the show. I mean, I just told every Rattler to get on a knee and pray for FAMU with some real honest intention and what you want to see, because the stuff that's happening right now is it's just wild.
And you can tell. And let me just say what I saw. I saw a coach that brought FAMU from nothing to something. And in 2 years, he turned the program. I mean, he was there longer, but within that 2 years before he left, he turned that program around. We was getting world-renowned stuff on top of what Deion Sanders was doing for Jackson. HBCUs were getting seen. Scouts and things like that were coming to HBCUs. FAMU, of course, being one of them. You had LeBron doing the shoes and, all of this stuff. And then as soon as that happened, Vaughn, you're going to offer our coach a job. Right after a championship, what school do you think UF would have done that? You think Florida State would have done that? You think Ohio State would have gotten rid of their coach? Oh, the money. Y'all find money to do everything else. The alumni would have raised it. And it's like, you took him. Then once you took him, you put this coach here who begged to be here, but you got to go. Like, it's embarrassing. to come from the season we come from. You begging like you gonna keep us there. And baby, you took us under. Are you a plant? And then after you, then the AD who didn't even do nothing while she was the AD at FAMU, did some at another job that y'all went and dug up, okay, to make sure she got fired. And then you sent Marvin. And you telling me this ain't a setup. And then you said, oh, I didn't include the scam you guy, which caused Larry to leave. After Larry was our interim president, when we had to get one and you didn't let him be the president, then we had to get that president, and you finally let him be president. He was sitting at daggone school, skyrocketing. We've been under attack. We've been under attack since they got rid of our law school. We've been under attack when they got rid of our hospital. We've been under attack since. We are one of the biggest HBCUs in the world. And all I'm saying is FAMU Law School, this will be a great case study, to go, and because it's getting ready to shape how announcers and the band world works, because I will be the Candace Owen of marching bands. You do any dancing that offends me, I'm going to write a letter. I am going to make a video and I'm going to post it. Why not? Everybody, you get offended. You get offended. I'm handing out offenses for everybody. Like, oh, you hear me?
Stahsay, let people know how they can find you on all of these places.
You can just
TikTok,
type in my
social.
name right there on at least Instagram and Facebook. On Twitter, on TikTok and YouTube, I am the YN's auntie. You're welcome. And if you want to send me money, because I'm a mother of 4 kids, but I got like 7 jobs, but I still need help, because why not? My cash app is GoFund Auntie. With a Y. Okay, I'm done. But you can find me when you send money. I'm where the money resides. That's where you can find me.
Go. See? Keep 100. Stahsay, appreciate you, love you, respect you. Thank you for your words. Yeah. Even with the flair that you bring it, it's much appreciated tonight.
Absolutely.
I appreciate y'all. Thank you. And I'm not gonna not be invited back, right? Because a lot of times that happens. And I was just about to say, if you wasn't gonna invite me back, I have been uninvited in better places. That's all I was just gonna say.
Until we talk again, Stahsay, you will be back. Thank you.
Anytime. Kick me out the room, because I'm gonna have to stand up and I don't want my breast to lean over.
Oh, Lord have mercy. All right. We love you. Bye.
Bye.
Boy.
Can't beat it. Can't beat it.
Can't beat that. Can't beat
I
that
missed
at
a lot.
all. Yeah, Marcus, that segment right there. That's a clip. That's a clip.
Yeah, I'm about to go back and watch it. I don't know what was going on with my mic. I couldn't hear anything.
That's a clip. I need to.
Yeah,
that's one. I definitely got to make sure we clip that. Goodness gracious. Good stuff. Somebody said, still Stahsay, you're more Rep Crockett. What's Crockett's first name? Jasmine Crockett. All right. Stahsay, more Jasmine Crockett than Candace Owens. God bless it. Good stuff. Appreciate you guys all jumping in. And whenever you make sure you're following, retweet them, those posts from her. That's all right.
We
mentioned that
we bring all voices an opportunity, because we educate here. So, there's a lot of perspective on a lot of things. And she brought an angle, frankly, that was true to her educational background, funny but deep at the same time. She brought a heck of a perspective to this.
Again, we're in unprecedented territory. And I think the questions have to be asked of the conference, but we do need more clarity as to the why. I mean, we can read what's there, but it is unprecedented. And so when you have something like that, I think that you have to ask, who else was consulted? Was President Johnson made aware of this? Is the suspension coming from FAMU? Because I still wonder if this suspension is coming from the SWAC or if it's coming from Florida A&M. There's still some ambiguity there in that press release, in my eyes.
I hadn't seen nothing from the university.
Haven't seen it, correct.
That announced that. Only the SWAC.
Jesus. Let's take a second and we mentioned to you guys that we weren't done with the breaking news. Should we do it now or do it after the break?
Let's go ahead. I mean, do we really need a break? Let's just keep it rolling.
Mm-hmm. Well, among all the news and information that has been coming out, exactly, little baby. Wait, little baby said, what? There's more? Reports have been circulating. Now, I'm prefacing this as these are reports. We don't have an official word on this.
Word on the street.
Kelvin, what do you say?
Word on the street.
Yes, we'll frame this as word on the street. As Marcus said, the NNN. That current Deputy Director of Athletics and Chief Operating Officer, Travis Glasgow, who is 1A. Obviously there's a 1A and 1B in place right now. Brittany Johnson being 1B. But Travis Glasgow, apparently, according to multiple sources, the Street Committee as well, the NNN, is that he has submitted his resignation at Florida A&M University. It's a 2-week resignation from what the reports are to a school within the SWAC. I won't put that out there, but it is to another, apparently there's another opportunity with another school in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. And so we are in a bit of a uncharted territory. I don't know if we want to say crisis mode, unsure as to what's going on. That's all we can say right now. Until we hear the official word and more announcements come. But right now, FAMU is in a place where we have to really start to ask the question, will President Marva Johnson make a move and bring back our athletic director, Angela Suggs?
We've got to have leadership, and we got to have leadership fast, because that's not the only leadership position within athletics that is officially resigned and moving to a different spot. There's another name out there too who's resigned. So we've got to have leadership. You see what's going on with football and There's some other there's some other positions which we're not going to talk about, but we've got to have some leadership, experienced leadership who can maneuver these treacherous waters. Remember, we got a new president, a new COO, an interim CFO. It's critical. It's critical times on the heights of Seven Hills, and the decisions we make over the next 4 weeks.
About the next 48 hours.
Yeah, it's going.
I mean,
it's
almost.
Yeah.
We have a bye week. We have an unplanned bye week, and probably it cannot. It's the best thing in the world right now that we do have this bye week. I mean, this is a bye week that was unplanned, unexpected, but you feel like there has to be meetings happening right now among administration in Lee Hall, President Johnson, and whoever else she's leaning on, because if the reports are true, I mean, you gotta get somebody in place and people in place that can keep the boat afloat.
Man, we got homecoming coming up.
I can't even think about homecoming. We got a home game on October 11th before the homecoming game. Yes, you're right. Homecoming is 3 weeks away, but in 2 weeks you have a home game.
You got basketball media days next Wednesday, and
next Wednesday and Thursday, I think. Is it next Tuesday and Wednesday? Tuesday and Wednesday, I think.
Right. You're hosting the cross country championships for the SWAC here. You're hosting volleyball championships for the SWAC here. Man, sound the alarm, man. It's a full-fledged fight.
Marcus, I'm going to pull a clip up, something that I thought of. Marcus, I want to get out the way for a second and give you a chance to comment here while I look up something.
Well, I agree with Kelvin. I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming down the pike. I mean, we've already had, and I guess to some degree, the relative lull that the department's been in since AD Suggs was on leave. We saw that ramification potentially on the game in Atlanta. There was at least some hint that that might have played a role. And now you got other stuff coming down the pike, and not only large events being hosted in Tallahassee, but everything swirling around Coach Colsey. Who knows what's going on? And if there's no one to steer the ship or no one taking the rudder, then it's just a whole bunch of questions that are happening. And we don't know what President Johnson's stance is. I don't know if I've ever seen an outright statement. I guess she's visited the teams, but don't really know what her stance is on athletics and its importance to the school. I mean, I haven't heard her come out and say, athletics is the front porch and all those type of things you like to hear to get support in athletics. And we also know that, I guess, I'm assuming the second in command for the university, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kelvin and Bryan, but second in command under her is the former BOT member who is over athletics. So I don't know what that means. And I don't know if I'm really looking forward to what that means. But yeah, there's a lot of things that need to happen in a real short amount of time.
And my concern is the two people you just pointed out have no background or experience making these decisions at any level of an organization. That is very problematic.
Mm-hmm. And per the NCAA, and I know you pointed out to Kelvin, the university president is accountable for athletics, ultimately from the NCAA's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
They've made that very clear.
Yeah.
This current situation reminds me of this scene from the Office right now. You remember this fire drill scene? This is where everyone in the office is just running around, just trying to figure out how the heck to get out. People running over each other. This is what it feels like we're in right now.
Yeah.
Doggone fire drill. People fighting. Be like, what's going on? What's going on? Absolutely. Just people running from one door to the next, hand on fire, trying to figure out. That's where I feel like we're at, fellas. That's where I feel like we're at right now.
Good analogy.
Jesus. I feel like so with that said, I don't want to skip over the fact that, we've talked a lot about things related to the football weekend. I do want to make mention of some things happening this upcoming weekend, non-football related, because there is still some sports happening around FAMU athletics. Just to recap, FAMU volleyball finished 1-1 in the home opener. Lost 3-1 to Jackson State after winning the first set, losing the next 3. Then we rebounded on Sunday and defeated Mississippi Valley State. So right now we're 1-1. This upcoming Friday, we've got a couple of different sports in action. Women's tennis is competing in the SWAC fall tournament in Huntsville, Alabama on Friday. Remember last year, the Rattlers, I believe we won the fall tournament. Did we not? Or no, the fall tournament is an individual. It's an individual tournament. And actually, Sarah Rakim is who won that tournament, number one singles last year. So we'll see this year. I don't know who, I don't know if Reagan Harris is playing at number 1 this year or whether what that looks like. Marcus, you did note that the tennis roster is a full roster this year, didn't you?
Yep, and they've updated it. So I was trying to do research on the background of the players. Looks like we had I have the PowerPoint. I don't know if I loaded it up, but yeah, I think we got 5 new players. And it is up on the website. And I saw it I think it was last week.
But in total, we've got 8, a full roster, correct?
It's either 8 or 9.
I can pull up that Olympic roster that you shared with me.
I'll make sure it has last week's date on it. Oh, the 26th. I think it was the last date. Let me zip down. I don't have information.
What's the file name on it?
2025 commits and signees Olympic sports. So we have 5 new players. Excuse me. And 1, 2, 3. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 new players, one of which we found out about over the summer, Gabrielle Pierce from Washington, D.C. So she's not new, but I finally got a bead on, when the roster loaded up, another young lady I kept seeing, Elena Thomas from Mac Academy in Augusta, Georgia. So she's the one that I think Coach Nikki gave us a heads up about in the spring. Amber Butalis, she's from Everglades High School. She's a true freshman, but she also played flag football for Everglades High School. I think she made all Broward County team for both tennis and flag football. Sydney Brantley is from Atlanta, but she transferred from Tennessee State. You may have seen her on some of the pictures in the U.S. Open. Actually, I think all the people new players went up to the U.S. Open, and we have, I'm assuming, a freshman, Luisa Edelvane from Brazil. I haven't been able to find much on her, but she marks the 5th new player for the team this year.
All right. Mike, I'm trying to download the clip, right? The video now. Which slide number starts the tennis?
Oh, goodness gracious. 63.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Here we go. Tennis. Here you go. Gabrielle Pierce right there that you just mentioned.
Yep. Oh, that must not be the old. That must be the old version.
Okay.
So I have to upload the new one.
Okay.
I thought I'd uploaded it. I probably didn't because I couldn't find anything on the young lady from Brazil.
All right.
But 4 out of the 5 are presumably true freshmen. And the one transfer, and I think she's a sophomore or maybe a redshirt freshman from Tennessee State, but she played her prep years in Atlanta. And I think she was a 3-star player. The young lady from Augusta was rated as a 4-star, and that's from the Tennis Recruiting Network website. And I didn't see rankings for the other folks.
Now, our FAMU Athletics website makes note of the fact that this fall tournament is a weekend tournament beginning Friday, October 3rd, continuing on Saturday the 4th and Sunday the 5th. The tournament is being held in Huntsville, Alabama. There's also a listing here for women's tennis participating in the Bedford Cup in Jacksonville, Florida. So I don't know, last year this was the tournament was a singles competition. So I don't know if this is a situation where we have a singles competition for maybe our top 2 players, and then the rest of the team is competing in the Bedford Cup. That's taking place in Jacksonville, Florida. So make sure you're locked in to FAMU Athletics. Any news that we get and that we see from FAMU Tennis or the Athletics, we'll make sure to follow. We'll make sure to retweet and post any of that to our social media handles at O&G StrikeZone on Instagram and on Twitter. Volleyball. They're in Alabama this weekend. On Friday night, they take on the Alabama State Hornets. So just adding more fire, more juice to the rivalry. And it is their homecoming weekend. So I expect them to really make a big deal out of this game. We have had some good battles with Alabama State in the past. So this should be a good match. That's a 7 p.m. Eastern start time. Alabama State, though actually it should appear on SWAC TV. I believe, you should be able to catch that match on SWAC TV. So make sure you have SWAC TV downloaded. I did happen to see Alabama State's most recent volleyball match was streaming on SWAC TV. So we should be able to see the Lady Rattlers at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then they'll travel from Montgomery, Alabama on Friday or Saturday morning. They'll go on Sunday to Huntsville, and they'll take on Alabama A&M on Sunday. That's a 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central. They're on Central time out there. So 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central, Sunday, October 5th. That, too, should be on SWAC TV. So that's the beautiful thing about SWAC TV now. We can no longer say, hey, we can't see our teams play. No, we can see them. We can see them now. We can see them now. So that's it right now. So other than tennis and volleyball, the only 2 teams competing this weekend, of course, with the canceled football game, which then, as it relates to football, our next game becomes a home game against North Carolina Central next Saturday, October 11th. And I believe that's a 3 p.m. Kickoff, 3 or 4 p.m. In North Carolina Central, they're scoring. I mean, whatever we thought, if you thought Alabama State was scoring points coming into the game this past weekend, North Carolina Central, I think, has scored over 45 points in their last 3 games. So, yeah, that's what's coming. So whatever's going on with our football program, the guys are on notice. They got 2 weeks to prepare, and the coaching staff's got 2 weeks to get them ready and get the right people in the right places, so that this thing can get fixed and that we can avoid what happened this past Saturday. Yeah. All right. Marcus or Kelvin, either of you have anything left you want to add as we get ready to close up a loaded show tonight?
No, I don't have anything, man. Just want to continue to support softball, basketball, all the different fundraisers that are out there. Continue to give. The need is still there.
Okay. Marcus, anything?
No, I mean, despite whatever feelings folks have about Coach Cozy and other teams, they were still recruiting. So try to keep up on that. We did offer a boatload of kids last week, and actually I saw a couple this week. Despite the bloody nose we got at home, we still offered some. So I'll try to keep up to date on that.
Recruiting. Get on a knee, Rattler Nation. Say a prayer. That's all I can tell you to do. Start there. If you believe in the power of prayer, say it. Say what you want. Ask God for it. Be specific in your prayers. We need it. FAMU needs it.
Amen.
Happy Founders Day, Friday, October 3rd. FAMU will celebrate pop quiz. How many years? Anybody know off the top? Quick math.
138.
138. See, Marcus, there you go. I don't know if you're right or not. I'm just going to take your word on it. You're the college professor of the show, so.
Nah.
But yes, make sure to wear some orange and green. Make sure to share as much as you can with someone who is not familiar with FAMU. And let's try to have a positive Friday and a positive weekend. And that's the best we can do right now, Rattlers. No Monday night review show because there's no football game. So the next time you'll see the O&G StrikeZone, it will be on next Wednesday as we get ready for the game against North Carolina Central. And hopefully it'll be a less busy news day than what we had today, boy.
Or more positive.
Or more positive. Yes, well said.
Quick question. I mean, we do have volleyball this weekend. It might be an abbreviated show. I don't know if we can do reviews and stuff. Could that be a?
You want to do a volleyball review show?
I'm just throwing it out there. Not that I know, hit the ball over the net. I don't know all the strategy in it.
You gonna join us?
No, I have class.
Oh. That's what I wanted to ask. Okay. All right. That's all right, though. But I like the suggestion, though, Marcus. I will, if I can get, what I'd like to do, I'd love to be able to show some video clips. Maybe, I don't know.
Is it on Swag TV?
It will be. Both games will be on Swag TV. So, I don't know. Maybe we can, I don't know. We'll talk about how we can get a coach. I don't know. Maybe we can do like an abbreviated coaches show or something. I don't know. Since there is no coaches show happening right now.
Yeah, or if Marissa comes back on. I mean, she played volleyball in high school. But I know she's busy out in Mississippi, but she's got volleyball experience.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got to have somebody who's going to watch these games and be able to break down what we're watching and seeing. I mean, that's, I think, what we need to. That's the key part.
Exactly, Jimmy.
What do you think?
He got all these.
He
got all these ideas, and he ain't gonna be here.
Do a roster deep dive. I don't know how deep we can go with the roster. What roster are you talking about? The football? Oh, Jesus.
I mean, he ain't playing them anyway.
Okay. Let's pick up and get out of here. Again, thanks to Marissa Stubbs for coming on the show. Thank you to Vaughn Wilson. Thank you to Stahsay Gordone. Please let them know via social media that you appreciate them coming on the O&G StrikeZone. That's how we keep the guests coming back for more. They want to hear from you, Rattler Nation. So if you will, take time to say you appreciate them and make sure you're following them on their social media handles. And my last request for you, the BCSN Pod Zone is where you can download and listen to all the podcasts that are part of our show. And so when you go check the BCSN Pod Zone on Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Apple, and Google Podcasts, subscribe, download, rate, review, helps all the algorithms out. For Marcus Green and Kelvin Rozier, I'm Bryan Fulford, humbly, respectfully, saying thank you, Rattler Nation. Good night.
Still things up.
And God bless. Exactly. Things up, baby.
See? Voodoo doll.